So now we're going to talk about some tools you can use with social media to help advertise your program and promote your program so that it can get out there and be seen. So with social media, we know that our students all have access now to smartphones pretty much, and definitely their adults do. So most families now have access to smartphones and use social media. And it's just another way for you to communicate. I do not think social media can be our only form of communication, but it's another way to share with our students and with our families, and it's an opportunity for publicity. Now, if you teach older students, this makes more sense. Younger students obviously are not going to have access to social media or may have less access to devices, but the older the students you teach, the more opportunities you have to use social media, but definitely their adults will. In addition to advertising things that you're doing or publicizing your group, we can use social media to help build our community. And then you can also use it to connect with other organizations within your school and your community. And it just gets your identity and your logo out there in the digital verse. So social media, we know, is kind of a tricky space to be in right now for all of us, but definitely some positive things can come out of it if we're careful. So one of the biggest things we have to think about with social media is privacy concerns. So the most important thing that we can say when it comes to social media is whatever you decide to use, you must clear it with your school, your district, or whoever is in charge of you. Please make sure you're going to be supported. You do not want to put yourself on a platform or use something that is going to get you in trouble. So no matter your personal social media use, when it comes to school, you need to make sure that you're getting district approval, school approval, and that you're in the clear for that, because the last thing you want to do is put yourself at risk as an educator. So whatever platform you choose, please make sure it's something that you're going to get support for. Definitely then, as long as it's something supported by your school and your district, then choose the platform that you're most comfortable with. I don't think it's necessary to have 4 different types of social media for your organization. To start, just choose what's easiest based on what you're allowed to use. And then definitely what's used most in your community and your school. So if your school mostly uses Instagram, or if your school, mostly uses Facebook, whatever. But you want to make sure that you kind of look around and see what everybody else is using. And again, even if everybody's using it, still check with the right people to make sure you're going to stay out of trouble. You never want to connect your personal accounts with your organizational accounts. So when you set up these accounts to go with your organization, you want to do it with an organization email address and not your personal email address. Even if you have to set up a separate Gmail account for your organization, you do not want to connect your personal accounts ever with your school or organization accounts. And then know your school district policy on media releases for students. Every district is different and has different rules. So make sure you're very clear on what you can and cannot post and what is acceptable and not acceptable. Even if you have media releases for all your students, like I get a media release every year from each kid, you want to avoid name usage, and especially their whole name, unless you have explicit parent permission. Like if you're going to use their name for say you're advertising, oh, this student made this great award, check with the parent, or just use their first name only or first name last initial. But I would avoid using full names ever, and definitely avoid anything that's going to get you in trouble. So always check what the rules are with media and student names. When in doubt, just check with your administration. Don't post it. If you have to question if this is something you should post, that should probably be a sign. So be very careful. Those privacy concerns are huge. Many of us don't understand sometimes, like, oh, it's not a big deal, I'm just posting a picture of my orchestra, but we don't always understand that there could be court orders in place, family dynamics going on, so just be careful. And then set the privacy rules up for your account, and do not accept any requests from students or anyone where you're going to be able to see their accounts. So for example, if you're using a platform and students request to be your friend on the platform as the organization, you don't want to follow them, because then you will see things that they are posting, and then that makes you in a situation where you may have to report them for something that you don't want to see. So it's just a good rule of thumb not to follow your students, never with your personal account, but especially also with your school account or your organization account. So definitely social media has lots of important uses for us, but always we must be careful with making sure we're following the rules of our district and making sure that we've got distance between ourselves as the individual and our personal account and our organizational account. So now let's get to the fun part. What can you use social media for, and what are some things you can do to help promote your organization with social media? Pictures are awesome. And again, if you're kind of sticky about the rules, you can always blur faces. You can put smiley faces over them. Videos or audio recordings of your kids doing cool stuff in class. Many of our students are doing amazing things, or fun things are happening every day. You know, you can film from the back of the room so you're seeing the backs of it. Lots of things you can do. But, you know, sharing those experiences with your community or the organization page, then that is really a great way to say, hey, here's some stuff we're doing. Sharing videos, audio recording, or pictures, or, you know, any kind of snippets from performances you're having, or any kind of public event that you're in. Pictures of any written work. So let's say you're doing student compositions and you can take pictures of it. Or, you know, let's say the students did a service project. Or, you know, let's say they wrote out some musical activity. Any number of things that you can take pictures of. Fundraising activities. It's a great way to promote your fundraiser and share in your community what's going on and all the cool stuff your organization is doing. Interviews with students, great way to introduce students to others in the program, to do student spotlights or interviews with the teachers, quotes by famous musicians, or information about music education, like sharing links and articles about the benefits of music education. This is especially helpful if you have a lot of parent followers. Funny music memes, again, school appropriate. Links to any articles and things that will benefit students. Maybe about college admissions and music education, again, depending on the level you teach. Announcements about upcoming events, concerts, trips, etc. It's a great way. Students will check social media before they will read anything you post on Google Classroom or other learning management systems. So using your social media to really get those announcements out is a whole nother way that you can get that information out. Information about current artists or musicians that are utilizing string players. It doesn't have to just be string musicians, but also maybe pop artists that are utilizing strings in their music. Information about any local music events. Maybe the symphony is doing something that you want to highlight, or there's a guest artist coming in town. Pictures of you and your colleagues, maybe doing work outside the classroom at a conference or performing, and then awards, recognitions, achievements of your program or your staff or your students. I love the idea of senior spotlights. The school down the street from us, Lanier High School, their orchestra does a fabulous job of highlighting their seniors every year and doing little senior spotlights about what their seniors are up to. So this is a great way to share and honor some of your students, fun facts about students and teachers, lots of different ideas for posts and interactions. So we can really use social media to help promote our program and share with our communities what's going on. I think as long as we do it carefully, I would love to hear your ideas for how you use social media, especially from some of our younger teachers who may be really versed in that area, as well as, what are some digital tools you're using in your classroom that have made your life easier or that have benefited your students. So if you'll drop into our chats or our discussion posts in our community, it would be great to hear from you.